Lost Ditko stories. I, for one, wonder how many of these are out there that are unpublished. I know that Robin Snyder, in his Ditko books, has published a couple stories recently that have been unpublished from his later years. But what did Steve Ditko draw on spec that's out there? We're going to look into a little bit of that today. First, I want to talk about my new graphic novel, Deus Vult, which is on Indiegogo right now. If you can see in the thumbnail there, we have classic style art, classic style storytelling, real heroism, just like the old Steve Ditko stuff or John Buscema stuff, all the great classics that you enjoyed. We have this on Indiegogo right now. There's a nice hardcover version, paperback, whatever floats your boat. We just want to get great comics into your hands and get you aware of new great comics that are carrying the torch for the tradition of these awesome books from the past. All right, that link is in the description below. Back today. What I want to talk about today is actually a pretty cool thing. So it was discovered that there is a Steve Ditko Flash Gordon story, and there's a full story completely drawn. To my understanding, from what I saw in the comments. But this piece of art is going up for auction on one of those fancy auction houses and all that. I'm sure it's going to fetch a lot of money because this is Steve Ditko original art, and you can see there's his work with Flash Gordon fighting some cool alien-looking dragon monster with a nice little background here. Classic Ditko. This was done in the 80s, and really cool. I'm excited for this. I wish I had the whole story of this to be able to read because I just enjoy this so much. And I'm trying to give everybody a full shot of the page. It doesn't really fit very well. Okay, well, the art without the title fits pretty well right here. All right. But this exists and is a thing, and I didn't know it was there. So Flash Gordon is a traditional sci-fi pulp property, if you guys are not aware of it, and it would have been so cool to see Ditko on this. Robin Snyder, who publishes Steve Ditko's latter-day work and collaborates with him a lot, actually made a comment about this. Robin says, "Yes, I remember it well. We were off to a flying start at Western Publishing Company, who is responsible for that Gold Key comics imprint, if you might recall, and had plans for other titles and this one. What do you think of this idea for Flash? Rudy Nebres on covers? Kanigher script, Ditko and McWilliams as alternating artists, and a backup for every issue." I would have bought that. I could have told you this right now. Well, I wouldn't have back then because I would have been probably 1 or 2 years old. But I would have bought the collected edition. Let's say that. RK and Ditko were enthusiastic about the character, and we were about to contact Mac, who I'm guessing is editorial over at Western Publishing, when management pulled the plug on the comics division. Such a great loss. So this was the comic that was never to be. They had a whole pitch for it. They were ready to go, and apparently they were going to do other comics also. And then that was the end of the company, as many comic companies go. Ditko did a lot of interesting work in the 80s that people might not have paid attention to. Robin Snyder released a whole line called Revolver, which has a lot of cool stuff in it, including Ditko's Static, which is a very interesting character that he created at that time. He also did some work for Archie Comics. They did their Red Circle superhero imprint, and Ditko did several issues of The Fly, which a lot of people don't realize. Another thing which I've reviewed a little bit is he did a ton of work on the Indiana Jones series for Marvel. So he was out there in the 80s and didn't really get a lot of attention. I think maybe if there was a Flash Gordon story, that might have been a little bit different. But there's a lot of cool work out there, a lot that people have not found or rediscovered to read. We're going to try to cover all of that over here on the channel because we love Ditko and we want to make sure that his art, beyond just Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, which are great things in and of themselves, get remembered and get the credit that they're due. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I think this is a pretty cool breaking news story. Let me know if you're going to bid on this auction. I'm sure it's going to go for several. I bet this will be a 5 figures, if not 6 figures auction. It will be my estimate on this. We'll talk to you guys soon. Hit the like and subscribe button.